Yeah, are you in an elevator, DJ? It's supposed to be acid jazz. I was just laughing about that. Fucking stupid AI. Hi, Lindy. Yeah, I like it too. But it needs some work. I had it on prompt mode. I was experimenting. Oh shit. I get some good feedback on that. Excuse me, on those tracks. Yeah, it's not perfect. However, you go over to, that Chomo's channel in that sense. I've got this new thing where I go in there and troll him with a sock account as a new subscriber and give him all kinds of compliments about how fantastic his AI music is. And I pretend like it's him that's done the writing and all of the composing, and I blow smoke up his ass about how fantastic of a musician he must be in that sense. Is that me playing the flute? Yeah, the skin flute, Karen Jones. No, there's these AI bots that generate music, and you can put in the prompt mode, there's 200 characters that you can utilize. So not knowing any of the command prompts, I experiment around. Sometimes they turn out, sometimes they don't. There's all kinds of things you can do. Sometimes they really work out and they're funny. Most times they're cringe. They're just so cringy. But, you have to get to know that developer's command prompt or the commands that you can put in. I mean, it's a whole new language in that sense. So it's like something new. Holy shit. I just put in, I don't know, then you really have to think about what it is that you want. You have to kind of rethink your music. But I go over to that Chomo's channel. And he goes on about, he doesn't tell you what it is. He says, oh, this is my AI tools. And of course, he's a mass developer of them and master composer of these very detailed, dissected. So much time went into these. It's just the next greatest thing. It's just so cringe. It's funny. Sometimes I can't help myself in that sense. New type of trolling. Well, no, old type. Again. Just again. Oh, geez. Sky Maiden, it's good to see you. Listen, so this Jack and Lilly case, we're here talking about the Jack and Lilly case today, friends. Let me pop over into this window. Listen, there's two different narratives going on out there. I'm sure you've noticed. Good day, friends. It's kind of confusing, and it's not new in that sense. It's newer, the experience, because really everybody in the background is talking about how it isn't what it seems, in the sense that no matter the details, it isn't the children just walking away. And as far as the RCMP are concerned, they're still handling it as it was the kids walked into the bush, and they have to, once they start a particular investigation, they can maintain that for an extended period, an indefinite period of time under that guise. Meanwhile, they're collecting all the information in the background. Don't expect them that they have to tell you anything about where they are, especially in the investigation aspect of the situation. And hey, we have yet to really understand what it is that's going on here. We love to get ahead of ourselves because we're looking for a bad guy in all of this scenario. The kids probably aren't. Listen, I don't want to start telling you what did happen, but we have to really point out where the division is at this point in time. There's a mystery at hand, and that's where the mystery is at this point in time, because we're expecting all of this information to come our way. And how presumptuous, how entitled are we? Not very. Now, the questions that have arisen around that have really centered around Malaya Brooks Murray. And if you're listening to the people and all of them and the stories that they tell, whether it's Darren Getty's, whether it's Darren Getty's version of Janie's account, I think enough times passed where you can consider Darren Getty's to be some of the best information that we have available to us. Now, we can hold him accountable at a later date. But really, we have to be somewhat thankful that there's a person that's been involved, coming to the internet and sharing with the public what would otherwise be key details of an ulterior motive, in that sense, by way of the mother. So it's a bit of a boring one on one hand. We'll just put that aside. It's not boring in the sense that people are already putting the cart ahead of the horse in that sense, and they're expecting this to be maybe something that it's not. Now, am I simplifying it and undermining what's really going on? I think so. And it's good to see you in my chat, by the way. How many of you out there are really believing that the worst case scenario is at play here, in that the children are not with us anymore and the worst case scenario has happened and it's just Malaya trying to avoid, well, never mind, and Malaya is just avoiding contact in that sense with the media? I don't know that I do. Mystic is saying, or Smartass Patriot, it's good to see you. You care about the kids. You can't say I've ever seen a case like this. You just hope all of this mystery means the kids can be safe somewhere. Yeah, I would, it's not our business at the end of the day. These are the situation at hand that they're hiding behind is going to sound similar because there's not a lot of disclosure around these children cases in the background. The RCMP isn't going to turn around and say the things that we want them to hear just so the case can progress at our own pace for our own listening pleasure. Karen Jones, do you know these people, the three narratives that are out there? Yeah, I agree. There's a few out there. I've got so last night, excuse me, It's a Crying Shame was live. Took a look at that stream just to get a good feel for where people are in regards to the latest rumors, and any new information. We'll talk about the crux of their live streams, briefly, and that'll open us up for probably a better direction on where we should take this live stream. I have got an itchy nose, so don't mind me. I better grab a Kleenex and blow it before it looks like I'm having like a pick session. You felt like that since the beginning, Sweet Tea? Felt like what? Felt like what exactly? What do you mean? You felt like this is probably the worst case scenario? I mean, it would account for calling the RCMP and calling 911 in the first place that we can't really figure out otherwise. What did you guys think about her picture at the beach, her friend? What is it, Christy or whatever her name is? It's not so bad that there's a picture out there, right? You probably should leave it off your social media. Why is it so important that a bunch of strangers get to see you at the beach in that moment? It's probably something that, is going against the therapeutic nature of the trip in the first place. Is it not enough that you're out in the sun and enjoying yourself, just briefly get your mind off things? The next thing you do is you've got to post that on your social media to drag yourself right back into the mix of what it was you're there in the first place to try to briefly get away from the zoo. People continuously. It was a. People are calling it her Casey Anthony moment. She's having a bit of a Casey Anthony moment in that sense. Oh, and on and on. Yeah, you like that, Don B? Yeah, people get their backs up because some of it, you don't want to alienate people in that sense, and you never know where they are. It's a fun trolling on. The odd time it's a fun troll, but not everybody gets that. I've made it members only, but there's a second one too, I think, that I made. Hello, Susan McMillan. Is it still hot in the UK? The picture tells me that her demeanor says to me she knows what happened. Mary Janser. Yeah, that's you betting, though. You just don't like the looks of it? Malaya takes the zoo with her everywhere she goes. Karen, you keep coming in here and everywhere talking like you know them in that sense. Like, I mean, you're incredibly always biased and hard no matter what. Do you know these people personally? I don't think I've asked you several times and you won't tell me. It's like it stands out from all the rest. You can have whatever opinion you want. Oh, you know of them. But don't we all know of them? It's like the rest of us, though, Karen. Come on now. It's fucking semantics and technicalities. Oh, fuck. So hold on here. Let me pull this up. I'm not holding it against you. I didn't want you to think that. Let me see. So some new information. Let's go through. So if we take a look back at Sunny's live stream yesterday, she had a new guest named Nova up there. Great new, oh, fantastic. New friend of the stream. Let me see. I'll skip over that part. I don't want to tell you about the GoFundMe yet. The ones that they're saying that aren't a money grab. Okay. I won't even bring it up. So Nova's involvement. Let me see this. Nova, local from Pictou County. Is this important? I don't know. Let me see where she's initially posted. Okay. Free plug. So there's a new out there. If you go pick her out, Nova, she was up there. You probably watched it. So timeline issues with alerts. So Nova, she brought up a discrepancy in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police's statements regarding the issuance of a vulnerable alert. The RCMP claimed that an alert was issued on May 2nd, but Nova and others received text alerts on May 3rd around 5:30 p.m., raising concerns about the RCMP's efficiency or accuracy. Well, take it up with them. Let's see. Upcoming. Let me see. I'll scroll. Darren's involvement. Was he in there last night? Darren, a family member, is actively seeking answers and has been communicating with Sunny privately. Oh! He's considering having Janie speak to CBC National to share her perspective, indicating a potential escalation in media outreach. Oh, just what you want. Why is it that this Darren... it's an interesting idea. It's interesting. I'm not anti that idea in that sense. Let me pull this up. Sorry, I'm leaving you blinded. Will you please go in the CBC? This is coming from Sunny's stream, though. Darren, a family member, is actively seeking answers and has been communicating with Sunny privately. If you're so close with Malaya's side of the family, pal, you would be able to talk to them. Third cousin removed. Whatever. Darren is what is called a cut-up, Karen Jones. What do you mean by a cut-up? What do you mean? He's considering having Janie speak to the CBC National to share her perspective. Why don't you just get her to write a note? How about an affidavit? Excuse me. Indicating potential escalation of media outreach. So rumors and speculation. Let's see. They're talking about the inconsistencies in family statements. So Sonny's talking about the stream heavily focusing on inconsistencies from Daniel and Malaya, the last two people known to be with Jack and Lilly. For example, Daniel claimed Malaya was on the phone when he came out of the woods, but also said his mother came out of a camper when she heard him calling the kids, and Malaya was using the phone despite her having her own. And Malaya was using his phone despite having her own. Oh, interesting. Where did we get that information from? Darren? Really? So he thinks. We'll take him for his word. Malaya and Daniel contradict each other about who asked, "Did you hear the kids?" during the time of disappearance. Yeah, you remember what she said in the interview. I wonder how they differ from the call. I wonder what the 911 call sounds like. And I wonder what the police interview, the initial first police interview sounds like. I can't wait to see those. Listen to them. These contradictions led Senny to label Daniel as untruthful, though she acknowledges this speculation without concrete evidence. Daniel! I can't believe Sonny's so anti-Daniel. I'm not... She says she deems him untruthful. I guess we should be able to agree on that now, I think. Do you guys in the audience agree? In my chat? Do you guys consider Daniel to be untruthful? And there's a pretty popular idea out there that even Daniel has admitted that. I don't get hers. Is that what they're deeming as untruthful and lying to people? Or I don't know if I consider that a lie necessarily, but let me know what you think. I'm really in the gray area on that one. Cut up is that thing that is done when gossiping. The gossiping itself is called a cut up. It's a hostile gossiping. Well, this is the type of gossiping that we like. Sometimes. Yeah, I get you. I can tell your gossiping skills aren't up to par. I try to avoid it. Sky Maiden saying that they're all untruthful. So why do you guys think that Janie wouldn't let the cops into her trailer when they've got a report of 2 kids missing? That seems pretty hardcore. Like, I mean, what's she hiding in there? Dolly's teasing over there like it's a meth lab. That made me laugh. I don't think she's hiding a meth lab, but you never know. You never know. The joke could be on me. I would have never thought it. Unregistered guns? Possibly. I guess that would be one. Like, I mean, and it's just it's not like a house with that needs to be cleared necessarily, although you probably like to search it to rule things out. It's, it's just like a 30 some odd foot trailer, isn't it? RV. I mean, it looks bad, yeah, but maybe there's a reason for it. Like, is it necessary to search my car? Can you not just take my word for it? It's different than a home. I would think they would consider it as a little different than the actual house, but the house is a trailer too. But it's a different type of trailer. Yeah. Do you guys know something that I don't with the unregistered guns? Or are you just taking a guess? It's plausible for sure. So there's speculation about the RCMP's handling of this case, with Sonny and Nova questioning whether the police are clueless or not doing enough. The delay in vulnerable alert. I think the RCMP are right on top of things, as much as you can be. I mean, you're centered to all the information. You've conducted all of those interviews. You've got a good idea. That's all in the past. The RCMP have claimed they've conducted like 54 interviews, all of these polygraph tests. They've got all of these particular tips. I'm pretty sure that they're aware of the same things that we're aware of. But when you're dealing with people who are actively trying to get something over on you and get away with something, you can't always be as transparent as the public would like in that sense. What are you expecting? And that comes back to people's opinions. Like, it's all over the place. It's not a legitimate scenario. What's up? Oh, do you need a charge? Hold on. Okay, hold on. Oh, I gotta stretch. Give it 20 minutes, my dear. Hold on. One moment, please. Oh yeah, I had to do some recharging, putting things back on the recharge. Let me see. Yeah, Karen, they're aware of more than we are aware of. The Crown just wants a conviction. Good point. I think the RCMP, says April, are treading lightly because of the native land. The first presser made it stand out to me. Yeah. That there's other agendas at hand. I think there's that as well. Excuse me, I've got a wine gum in my mouth. Carmen Moon, good to see you. All along, he called and blamed her. Fuck, those are good. When he says she's using his phone, I find it interesting. I truly believe Daniel and his mom were suspicious. He keeps blaming her. Suspicious of what? I would have to think that it's not the worst case scenario because they've ruled out, well, I don't want to say ruled out. How do they say that? They tested for, on the polygraph, associations to killing the kids. And that was their worst fear in this scenario. So if they pass that scenario, they can really focus on the other alternatives to that, no matter what it is. Not saying that it's the, be all and end all to whether they're telling the truth or not, but in light of the evidence that they have at hand. I don't know what you mean with that, Karen. I don't know what you're talking about. The constitutional issue. And you keep bringing up human trafficking and all this. You better be more specific or it's just bullshit. He keeps blaming her. Oh, that was my last wine gum. I just lost my last wine gum. You snooze, you lose. Man. Got me again. Did anyone watch that Michael Bridges and the Mr. Big Sting? You know what you're talking about. Let me see. So what did you just say about Daniel? You're suspicious, Carmen Moon. Okay. No. Okay, take it. Heaven's sakes, I'm getting shooken down. What's going on, Nasty? The major crimes guy said he couldn't comment on something because of a constitutional issue. Oh, who fucking knows? And you think that that's human trafficking? I think you're probably smoking too much. It's you wanting to make it. That's just a blanket spam term anyway. You better be more specific. You mean to say Daniel and his mom were the more suspicious people in the case? He wants to blame Malaya. Depends what you're calling suspicious in that sense. Like what do you suspect them of doing? The suspicious people don't bail and avoid talking to people in that sense. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe they didn't avoid talking to the police in that sense. His mom was keeping the RCMP out of her camper and out of her cabinets. What was she hiding? Maybe all kinds of things. But in that moment in time, that's pretty common. In that moment in time, they just wanted to clear the house to make sure the kids weren't in there so that they could put eyes instead of having to, take somebody's word for it. Presumably. She wasn't hiding the kids or we'd have them by now. So, I mean, getting hung up over the reason, you could just ask her. It's not really a point working against her. Obviously, if they found her suspicious, it would be a lot different at this point in time. She's not suspicious. Daniel's not suspicious. Daniel's out here wearing his arm on his sleeve. Doesn't matter if you like him or not, or if you think he's this aggressive, abusive individual. I've already gauged the amount of neglect off of him based upon how much he was trying to put on Malaya. He's out here talking about postpartum depression and all kinds of reasons for her bizarre behavior. How about the fact that she's just low class? There's that. Talking about her needing to take a break. It dawned on me the other day when I was reading that from the the fact that she's walking around talking about how she needs a break in that sense is what was probably the issue that the Children's Aid had with her too, and made her relinquish or give up her rights and give her into foster care at that point. Because she's so stable at this point, she's so fantastic. Why isn't Meadow with her? Why isn't she out just mumming it up? She's at the fucking beach taking a break, all right. Don't buy it. No matter your personal opinion, as soon as you bring that up to Children's Aid, they're going to really question your ability to provide a safe and happy home for your child at that point in time. It's like you've given up. There's no such thing as breaks, motherfucker, nor should you want a break from parenting. It should be kind of a happy thing, a happy scenario. Karma Moon, but when they change their stories, that's more suspicious. I agree with that. But it doesn't matter at that point. You know that they're lying to you. Therefore, it takes a different direction. Doesn't mean the RCMP need to advertise it all over the place. Doesn't mean that they have to sit out here and convince you all of your own suspicions. No, it's fluid. The investigation moves on, and it's moving on. The fact that Daniel is out here telling you, telling you all that, you can't make everybody happy in that sense. He's telling you from his perspective what he thinks happened. Yes, you can scrutinize him, but in when the totality of the information that he's come out and given should make you a little bit more upset with how they both handled this situation. Like, yeah, he's a contributing factor into this relationship that led her to do this, but she's probably not all there in the head. That's really what he's trying to say to everybody. God bless him. It never goes over well. There's always going to be people that take exception to it. You know, he might be I think he's telling the truth in this circumstance, meaning that there's probably a very low probability that the children are deceased. What's the strongest indicator? Janie's account of really all of the blank spots. She filled in all of the blanks for us that the parents didn't. Remember, they were drifting in and out of sleep with the RCMP narrative that they pushed. It's kind of important for that baseline narrative to be there from the RCMP so that we can cast judgment in our minds at any one point in time, but we can measure after the fact how far off they are from that 0 point at any one time, that initial call, which brings the mother back into question. At the top of that, she called the RCMP without getting any visual or actual confirmation that would send you into panic to really feel the need to call 911 in the first place. She's overlooking some very important key factors in any emergency situation, like the emergency itself. That's what stands out to me. That's my opinion, of course. Malaya has moved on, and she wants us to as well. If she gave her kids up, if she gave her children up, I guess at the end of the day, that's her business, right? She did the best thing that she felt she needed to do. And she doesn't want to talk about it. Okay. Fantastic. They're still going to require that you have some sort of confirmation that the children are alive, like a welfare check in that circumstance. I don't think that's too much to ask. I don't think that's too much to ask at this point in time. After all, you've dragged this into an international story. I mean, people are going to speculate in regards to Malaya. And well, should they? Why wouldn't you? She doesn't want to speak in that circumstance for no other reason than she just probably really wants to move on and not worry about things again. I don't blame her personally. This probably blew up into something that she didn't anticipate. That's always the way. Yeah, just April. So it's funny how objective or certain people objectify these kids in this circumstance. I guess it's understandable, but it's better in this circumstance if the public knows, I think. The fact that it's of public interest now would help the transparency level and hopefully safety level of the future of Jack and Lilly, rather than it be all hush hush behind closed doors and oh, see, that's where the abuse happens. So I mean, it's going to be difficult because of course you can't make it certain things public for the children's safety. So whether that's done through the RCMP and they can validate the fact that they are well and alive and in a good place and provided a full explanation by way of the lawyer, why hasn't that happened yet? Why hasn't that happened yet if that's their ultimate goal? That's just specific theory. Just talking to one specific question that people obviously have in their minds, or some in my chat, excuse me. Is it a demonstration that, for example, the case that's out here in the media spotlight, social media, mainstream, the combined effort is really nothing more than a response to a 911 call that's leaving people dissatisfied with how things are coming, are developing to a degree. Are we sure Malaya took a poly? I've only heard of Daniel's. Yeah, she took a poly, April. Daniel even talked about it on the CBC. Oh, I'm not sure if I can tell, but I will. This guy, Daniel, is funny to the I get why he wants his name cleared in this circumstance. Excuse me. I get it. I don't think that he's done anything to the children. I don't. He hasn't given me any reason to think he has. I mean, if he has, well, why wouldn't that be out already? Or an allegation of sorts. The fact that Daniel and Malaya are no longer together. She's out gallivanting around. What would you be screaming from the rooftops, April? Karen Jones, why does no one think Daniel and Malaya are in cahoots? Well, to a degree, they kind of are. And people are talking about it. Because when you say cahoots, Daniel's already acknowledged, really, how he was misled by Malaya. When he does that publicly, and that's completely makes things different to what they appear on the RCMP website or this situation being a genuine missing kid situation. It's been misrepresented as such. For what reason? You have to ask the parents that, not the RCMP. They have to take the call as though it is until they know otherwise. And they're working on it, I bet you. So, early on, people are saying, is this a genuine kid? Is this a genuine case of the kids walking into the bush, like walking away? Or is there something more sinister and everybody is expecting it to be foul play and there's going to be dead babies at the end of it? And the most morbid thing because of the way it's always constantly delivered to us. And just like a lot of the crap that develops on media, you're best just, you wouldn't be affected by it if you never really paid attention to it, like not turning on your TV. You're not making yourself susceptible to the programming and the brainwashing and the nonsense that's going to force you into making an opinion. Malaya is described, this is back in Sunny's stream from yesterday. Malaya is described as in hiding, which Sunny finds suspicious. Though she acknowledges there could have been reasons for this behavior. This is speculative, as no evidence confirms Malaya's guilt or specific actions. Guilty of what? Guilty of what? What are we alluding to? So we have Sunny. People have an opinion, and I'm not shitting on Sunny's. Why are we treating this as a normal situation where we're desperate for justice of some sort? Well, what the frick has happened yet? We need to wait a little bit and understand what has gone on. So it's one side that really wants Jack and Lily to return to normal. I don't understand why Belinda Gray is sitting there championing this. No, I understand that she wants a resolution to this situation, but in reality, it's none of her goddamn business either. If she wanted to dip out with her kids, she's got every right to. Our biggest fear is that she just dipped out on her entire family. She set her kids up to be living somewhere else. One, she didn't want to put them in state care. God bless her, because they wouldn't be treated appropriately. She probably, by the sounds of it, she gave the kids to family members in that sense, or friends of the family, or an internal to the reservation, their own version, or maybe friends of friends in that sense, a different way. That's not state or provincial in that sense. The establishment, we'll call it. And if she was to do it that way, she has every right to do that as well. Why the need to make it look like they just wandered off? Yeah, it all depends how you interpret the words that come from her in these little posts. You wish then the punctuation stands out to you, but sometimes you're not quite sure what she's meaning by a certain word. I can see where people get confused. It doesn't necessarily mean something some way. Yeah, this is one thing that I can't figure out, if she wanted to break from the children or she wanted to get out of there. Whatever. Why would she call the children in as missing? Right. And then again, that's a big plus for the people who think that the worst case scenario happened and that they went and hid bodies or something. But I think that that's kind of not ruled out, but it's at least probable at this point in time by the sounds of it, the looks of it. And by that I mean Darren Getty's account and everything that we've came to learn, even though it's biased in that sense, it's still a lot more accurate than the guesswork that was going on. Maybe Karen Jones in my chat is saying that she chose between one, they just wandered off, and two, facing child neglect charges. I hate to put that on her, though. I don't know that that's true in that sense. Like, what are you discriminating on them against? The fact that there is a call and that, we don't really know to what extent that was about, whether there was just a call there based off something that happened at the school. But there's something that made them call, and Malaya mentioned that it was because they were slower, I would assume intellectually, and they couldn't keep up with the rest of the kids. But when it has anything to do with child welfare, it goes right back to the Children's Aid, and they call you in regards to it. You think that set her into some sort of panic? Well, why would it set her into some sort of panic if there wasn't some truth towards it? She couldn't have just cleaned her act up a little bit? Like, what was it? We're doing a lot of assuming, right? I don't know that to be true. And considering, I know I'm biased a certain way in this. I'm just keeping my mind open because I don't necessarily think that she was meant to be a neglectful parent. However, when you sit back and you look at all of the information, even all of the things that Belinda Gray talked about, and how she mentioned Malaya used to be a certain way, and she used to be a certain way all up until a certain point, and things changed. But she didn't get too specific, but she was insinuating that it was I was getting anyway, that she used to be able to keep a clean home, but she was no longer keeping that clean home in that sense, and she was seemingly possibly depressed, but already in it to a degree before she met her band-aid Daniel, which now she's really trying to fuck over. No, it's just a cop-out, Karen. Don't try to understand this in a rational way. No, that's just a cop-out. You can rationally understand this nonsense in the first place because it's easy to figure out. We're figuring out an issue that there is an answer to. April's asking, I wonder if the Cheryl Christini is the girl that said the kids were being tucked in a warm bed, her pink-haired psychic friend. Yeah, I wonder too. That sticks out of my head. I wish we all had a psychic friend around when we really needed them to cover for you. Jesus. I know, it just seems so silly, but you could... Oh, that's not an admission. She's just psychic. Oh, shit. Right. We don't know. I keep thinking, when will they have another presser? Nah. Yeah, they're not going to have any pressers. There is... Do you want to watch that presser, Sweet Tea? Hold on. Let's see. Are you sure you want to put yourself through that? So the CBC, the farther away that we get from the initial May 2nd emergency, the more we realize that it doesn't look like it was an emergency. The best tip that we have as people at home is Janie's account, as told, which is Daniel's mother, as told by Durwood O'Grady, aka Darren Geddes, which is a little local busybody. Or is he, that has a fancy mustache, that got all kinds of personal as his son and Daniel worked together at the mill, if I remember correctly. And he got to know Daniel on more of a personal level, and slowly but surely he got some stories out from Janie and everybody, and he's, by all accounts, letting us into his conversations that he's had up to a certain point, mentioning that he can't really penetrate Malaya's family because of the shroud of silence. Well, that's awfully contrary to somebody who's out there eagerly trying to locate their children. So I've already scratched that off my list. I don't think these kids are really missing, especially if old mom isn't acting like that. But again, that's me assuming. The worst could have happened. And because it's an ongoing investigation, listen, do you know what really made me laugh about this April, this Cheryl Christini, her friend, pink-haired psychic, we'll call her for now, is the fact that she's now talking about how she can't disclose or talk about anything because of the fact that it's an ongoing investigation. This rando, sorry friends, that's almost like a Don B move. Sorry friends, we went live, but we can't talk about it because it's an ongoing investigation. You know, she is like something else. I can't wait to get to know her, to pick her apart a little bit more. Like, you don't want to be in that position. She's like a Cher from Voices Behind the Wall. Why don't you just start your own YouTube channel up? Christ. Then you could come up here publicly and deny everything. Get paid. The answer's behind closed doors. Karen Jones is in my chat quoting Charlie Pride. I love it. That's okay by me. Oh, shit. You know, the RCMP, you would have to know all of this shit. There's no... It blows my mind that fucking Don B calls up the RCMP to make sure that they know all about what Darren Geddes is saying, and I love that freaking guy. Man, it the people that watch that and eat that up, you really have to wonder about. Don's out there trying to help. He's out there helping out the case. It's really pushing this to the outer limits. Let me finish this off. Darren's motives. Some in the chat and broader community speculate that Darren might be misled by Daniel and Ginny's lies. Liar! Fuck you, liar! You think so? What are they... So let's hold that for a second. What are they lying about? The alternatives would be like that they completely murdered these two kids and that they've got them chopped up in their freezer and she won't let them in the house. And they're fucking playing stupid in front of the cameras. Well, that will... I don't think that that's the situation in this case. Not in this circumstance. Although that's the alternative. I mean, what have they lied about? Christ, you ask them to let you ask for your information from these people, and then there'll be something wrong with it as soon as they give you a little bit. Just let them talk to you. You got to let the river flow. These are reports of harassment. There are reports of harassment, including people driving by Darren's property and targeting his family, which Sonny and Nova condemn. I really got to question that, actually. It sounds like dry begging to me. He's talking about remember how Darren was talking about having to relocate because of all of these threats towards his life. From who? Where are they coming from? Maybe they are, maybe they're not legitimate, but why is he, making it an issue? Like it's putting him out. Fuck, it wouldn't be bothering if you just didn't open your email in that sense. You're getting trolled. Darren can't handle a little bit of trolling. Then he goes and he pretends, not to really understand any of the technology that he's sitting there utilizing. Yeah, you do. Holy mackerel. Hold on here. Holy crap, you're not even going to believe it. I just got farted on. Unbelievable. Disgusting. How dare you? Holy crap. Oh my god. My daughter just walks in and drops a bomb right beside me, for crying out loud. I turned all the fans off, so it's just like lingering. So horrible. Apologize, I have to tell you. It's just like tough to get over right here. I had to encourage her to go somewhere else. Holy mackerel. Let me see. Additional notes. Sonny's emotional investment is evident, particularly when discussing children's innocence and the pain of family members like Belinda. So what does Belinda want to see happen out of all of this, I wonder? I wonder what Belinda really wants to see happen. Has she said? I don't recall. Like, I mean, it's been almost 3 years since she's seen the kids. That's a full year and something before Meadow was born. Meadow is not with Malaya right now. Malaya's in care, and Daniel can see Meadow under supervised visitation. It's not an ideal situation. I wonder, it's good for Daniel at this point, I guess. It's one for him. It's probably going to be a bit of a journey. You're saying Belinda wants to try to make up for the time that she didn't see the kids? She regrets it, understandably. I think that's really showing. Yeah, she's expressed that. Yeah, I can understand. So what does the worst case scenario mean to Belinda Gray, I wonder? When I hear the worst case scenario, I automatically think death. Anybody else? To her, it might be worst case scenario, never being able to see my grandchildren again in that circumstance, which would be understandable too. Did she say Cody was paying support up till 11 months? No, fuck no. He's never paid support. What are you, nuts? So he didn't sign his rights away, just gave in to Malaya's wants? Pretty much. Well, it was all fine and dandy till it wasn't. But she iced him out. She iced him out. She iced him out. When you ice the father out, you're really icing yourself out of any kind of future payments as well from the man's perspective. Cody's as well. Well, you want to ice me out and then get paid like $3,000 a month? Yeah, I don't think so. So it sounded like she went to court in that circumstance for whatever reason to get full custody, if that's even necessary. Like, was a lot of people look back, was that whole process really even necessary? Like, when one side's really fighting, who knows what she was thinking at that point in time? Now you're just saying what Belinda said? Ah, okay. Oh, she did say. Not did she say. I see what you're saying. Karen, I don't know. What benefit? What benefits? What benefits? There's no amount of financial benefits out there that replaces the father or in a second income in a household or in two people in a household. There's no government benefit out there. It's not a trade-off. It's not a trade-off. I've got a hard time even for putting that on Malaya. That's really just nonsensical in that sense. Like, it doesn't work out like that. Never does. Verify alert. Oh, hold on. So, I won't do the update. Let me see here. Let me scroll down to Dolly's. Dolly was live yesterday too. So any new information? So Daniel Martel, the stepfather, has joined the Jack and Lily Missing Tips and Clues Facebook group. It has approximately 3,100 members and has been actively commenting since June 27th, 2025, if you're looking for it. That's the Jack and Lily Missing Tips and Clues Facebook group. Denying the use of excavators. So some of the specific details he's acknowledged recently are, the first one is denying the use of excavators during the search. That sounds like something that comes from you, Karen Jones. Second one would be confirming a helicopter conducted grid searches over thick evergreen vegetation about an hour and 30 minutes after the initial search began, with Daniel searching on foot simultaneously. 3, clarifying that the children were not seen at a mall but near the mall per RCMP statements. 4, noting a phone call from Malaya's brother Ron at 8:48 a.m. on May 2nd, 2025, lasting just under 3 minutes, and asserting Malaya did not use his phone that morning. So that's interesting. That's new, isn't it? Daniel's noting a phone call from Malaya's brother Ron at 8:48 a.m. on May 2nd, 2025. On May 2nd, 2025, 8:48. What time was 911 called? So she was talking to Ron on Daniel's phone that particular morning. I wonder what they talked about. That's interesting. What? Karen, you're off. You're talking about different things. How many kids do you got, Karen? Now, how does that relate to Daniel? Daniel isn't entitled to anything. We're talking about Cody in that sense. Cody and Malaya. You feel Malaya didn't have a good childhood, April? Maybe used as a pawn by the parents? She's definitely not right. What's not right about her? Was it something she said? They're probably arranging a time to go to the beach on May 2nd. May 2nd's a little bit early for the beach. Most places. Sometimes you get the odd day that's nice. Did Daniel, his brother, get along? I don't know. Vivian. But it introduces another person that was probably, you could even say probably involved that day with wherever the kids are now. Old brother Ron. That's right, Amenity. Or Menti, excuse me. She left her home one day after the kids going missing. Instead of looking, she fled and blocked Daniel. That is pretty suspect. Yeah, it's pretty suspect. And the whole point of staying silent was to keep you guessing as to why the reason that was. Oh, Daniel's just so evil. Daniel's a dastardly son of a bitch. Does anyone remember the golfer or the Gollier clan? I have no. Karen, I don't know who that is. Not yet, please. Hold on. Oh, Lacadian LeBlanc, what's going on? If Malaya's brother has the children, pray he doesn't do anything to them. Why do we need to pray? Why do we need to pray? What are you insinuating? Chair Bear, turn the volume down so it doesn't run out of battery. So what are you saying, Lacadian? I bet you, though, just on the surface, I bet you Ron's involved. I bet you that's Daniel's way of suggesting Ron's involvement. Well, how can't you when you put him like at 8:48? 8:48. Can anybody tell me in the chat what time the call to 911 came in? So it would fall right in line with whatever she was on. Was she out there on the phone with Ron, brother Ron, while Janie was gawking at her through the window, looking at her, stand out there, shuffling around, shuffling the kids, and Ron calls. Maybe Ron was riding shotgun and somebody else was driving. But there's another person to search, isn't it? LeBlanc. Let me see. Daniel confirms... sorry, we're not done this. Clarifying that the children were not seen at the mall. So noting a phone call from Malaya's brother Ron at 8:48 a.m. So I need a timeline. I need to jot that to the timeline. What time did she call the kids in? We need Janie to confirm somewhat of the time, but no, we're in the right... on the right track. Stating the RCMP was called before 10 a.m. and arrived within 12 minutes. So remember Janie's account that she said that she was out there standing talking to Ron, and there was 20 minutes in there. There's 20 minutes before she heard the kids, and by the time she looked again out the window, she was standing out there on the phone, probably with Ron, her brother, at 8:48 a.m., I would expect. That might not be right on. So the call lasts for 2... Hold on. Daniel confirms Janie Martell, his mother, was awake since 6 a.m. on May 2nd, 2025, and spoke to her brother at 8:48 a.m. for 2 minutes and 59 seconds. This raises questions about why she didn't see or hear the children if they wandered off. Why is this 8:48 too? So... that's confusing. So you're telling me Malaya was on the phone with her brother Ron, or is Janie's brother named Ron, and it's one call, and it's just Janie's? 2 minutes, 59 seconds, 3 minutes. Might be the same call, and they're referring to it as two different people. I got to figure that out. Specific timeline clarifications. Daniel disputes claims that Janie was filling a pothole with the shovel the night before the disappearance. So he's disputing that claim, stating it was a single small pothole filled on the morning of May 2nd, 2025. So the night before to the day of. This contradicts earlier narratives suggesting it happened the previous night due to rain or footprints. He also denies a party took place at the house, refuting rumors of a drug party and asserting no such event occurred. The RCMP reportedly told Malaya to, and I quote, watch what she says to the media rather than explicitly instructing her not to speak, contradicting claims that they barred her from interviews. You're barred from interviews! This is an unusual public clarification from the RCMP as noted by a caller. Interesting. Rumors and speculation. Somebody's saying, well, if it was Malaya who led the kids to the vehicle, I can't see it being to hide the kids alive. How do you know? As if you did that and report them missing, you go to jail. It doesn't make sense. Well, that's what she's done. He's saying, that's the story, dude. That's the story. Janie verified the life by listening. She heard the kids. And then didn't hear the kids in that sense. Sky Maiden, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense in that sense. We're still trying to figure that out. Why she's called 911 and reported them missing. So the argument is both the same. Is why... If the kids aren't dead, why would she call them in missing? You're going to have to change your way of thinking in that sense to understand. You're going to have to release that or put it to the back of your mind and conceptualize it another way. Because we've got no reason for the time being to distrust Janie's account that day. And her account on that particular day would suggest that the kids were alive and put into another car. We don't know whose car, but the newest suggest is, well, I got to verify who was on the phone, but Janie, or not Janie, but brother Ron, whose brother is Ron? Is that Malaya's brother? I don't know yet. I got to go verify that. Hi, Taze. I got to verify that. Was anybody in Dolly's stream yesterday? Maybe you can verify that for me. The confusion. That's not very nice at all, Karen. You think that she just went outside to get a break? What is a break from what? And was overwhelmed by what had happened the night before. What happened? It maybe had a momentary bit of sanity and then went back to being insane. It works for her. You're just hating all over her. Why did she report her kids missing? Should that drive our suspicion? Why would she report them missing? Why would she want to make them look like they're missing in the public eye? In a desperate plea to look like a victim of something? It's got to be something more than that. You would think. Like I've got more. I'm more in tune to take what Janie had said, you know, as fact at this point in time. I've got no reason, but I want to know. I'm just keeping my mind open as to what exactly she said and verified. But according to Daniel, why would we have to question Daniel at this point? So people are getting frustrated because the RCMP's narrative doesn't line up with what Daniel has come out and spoken out against. In my mind, at this point in time, I'm appreciative of that, and he needs to keep it up. And eventually we'll get to the truth. Or close. You guess Malaya's brother, Lacadian? You get caught in the past. He had help a young girl look up in a room and drug. What? I don't know where you're going with that. Karen Jones is saying, I told you Malaya is insane. Well, you have to define insane. And Daniel is in love. And you knew what that does to a man's brain. What? At least a man like Daniel with pre-existing mental health issues. How do you fucking know that? How do you sit there? You have to know them personally. How can you sit there, like, through the lens of television in that sense, and in your mind validate some sort of mental illness in these people? You don't know them that well, or do you? I just know of them. I just know of them. You just want to talk shit on them. Come on, Karen. I told you Malaya's insane. You got to do better than that. What makes her insane? Insane compared to what? I'm not trying to stick up for her. I'm not trying to stick up for her yet, but it's not that easy. Like, I want to know the reasons for all of this. I mean, is this what happens when you... No, I think there's another agenda at hand. Has to be another agenda at hand in this circumstance. I'm not sure that story you're talking about, Amenity. Or Amenti. Do I think the kids could have been picked up and abandoned in the wild? No. Not in this circumstance. Least probable. She didn't have the heart. She got someone to do it. No, not in this. No, I don't think so. No, I think Malaya knows exactly what happened to the kids, and she's misleading the public, and there's an ulterior motive going on. That's what I think. Right now. I like to conceptualize other theories, but I'm not too set on any one theory. I want to know what happened. But I can't for the life of me come to terms that this is a legitimate situation because of the information that's been brought forth by Daniel and continues to be brought forth by Daniel. I don't treat this as a missing kids case in my mind. It shouldn't sound harsh. It's like a false report in that sense. I'm open to being wrong about that. Like, there might be a reason that I'm just purposely overlooking. I'm purposefully overlooking the worst case scenario, which would be death in that circumstance. And holy shit, people, the place would erupt. People would be clawing for blood. And we've witnessed a situation like that, haven't we? But I don't think that this is the same situation as that gal in Georgia. You guys know. Remember Cher and Dolly were involved down there as well. That got to be a circus in Savannah. One moment, please. Oh, yes. Let me see. What are you saying, Dementi? A mother in June. Are you talking about that gal from Montreal? She abandoned her kid in the wild. They found her kid 4 days later alive. I'm not sure that I read into that story at all. I vaguely heard about it. Daniel's brother Ralph is a real piece of work as well. Lots of assault charges, DV, etc. Low-level criminality all around. Still, I ask you the same question that you don't seem to want to answer to me, Karen. How do you know? Do you know them personally? What does knowing of them mean? Why do you talk like you know in that circumstance and not speculate? Karen Jones, Malaya said to the police, I went to where they were at and they were gone. Where did you get that quote from? Is that in the interview, in the CTV interview? In my opinion, Karen Jones either, says Sky Maiden, either knows them or she's just throwing Hail Marys out there. I think Daniel has a strong suspicion. I think his strong suspicion is probably correct. Okay? At this point in time. Like, he doesn't have all of the answers because he's getting done too. Like, he only was in this for a brief amount of time before he started asking questions, and at that point she was long gone. Nowhere around to, and now they're not in a position to even ever have to communicate again. And he's sitting there crying in front of the CPC, dude. Dude. Oh, fuck. As if you're crying like a little bitch. Oh, one day I had this big, fantastic, full trailer that had to have been cramped in that trailer, man. 3 kids and a wife. I bet you it drove her fucking nuts. Probably drive anybody nuts. A little bit of cabin fever going on up there. Heaven's sakes. I mean, that's plausible, but we don't know. I don't think that the CPS triggered anything. Maybe she, like, you would think that she's. I don't want to start speculating. Look what she's doing right now. What she's done is given up on all of her kids and is in hiding. You've given up on all your kids and you're in hiding right now. So what would it, or there's no other way to say it. There's no nice way to say that. Obviously, there's a bit of a problem going on with Malaya and her ability to nurture her children. Like, it's coming from, like, the desire to. It sounds like she doesn't have the desire to. And she's clamming up for as long as possible until they progress with things against her. And right now, she's got a pretty good hand, it would seem, until the RCMP can prove otherwise. And that day's coming, I would expect. By the sounds of Daniel, you know, no matter what you think about him, it's a brief glimmer of hope, at least, to those trying to figure out this particular mystery. Like, what's the best case scenario at this point? Like, the story, how is the story going to develop? The more and more people, there's going to be probably a bigger divide between supporters of Malaya and people who are upset with Malaya. Is it our business? It's a bit of a confusing scenario, because now that she's called in the RCMP as her kid's missing, that warrants attention. Like, she's brought this on herself, and now she wants to throw this veil of privacy in front of everything. She should have done that before she called the RCMP. Why were the RCMP ever even called? We still can't figure that out. But the most obvious answer to all of that is that's because the kids are missing. She doesn't know where they are. According to Daniel, that's a complete, blatant, utter lie. And a lot of other people. So in that circumstance, you have to believe Daniel, whether you like it or not, until you can prove otherwise. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that amenity. She's not making all of these decisions like appropriate decisions. Hopefully she's not taking advice from that idiot psychic friend of hers. What a maroon. No wonder you don't have any of your kids left. Oh, you just need a little bit of a break and you can get back to being a parent later on. Holy fuck. Whatever got that in your mind? That's not exactly what, the people at Children's or CPS ever want to hear. To give up Meadow in this circumstance because you didn't want to be held accountable. You didn't want to have to answer to anybody. And even internally, there's got to be so many questions that people have, even on your own family. You're hiding from it all. See, no matter what, that says it all. That trumps fucking everything. At this point in time, when you called your kids in missing, obviously your kids can't be missing. What the fuck is going on? You're misleading people. You've lied. And now you want everything to go away. Why? For the reason that you don't want to be held accountable. The same reason that got you into this mess. It's probably a vicious cycle of irresponsible behavior. Now, did it bring harm on the children? How does that fit in with Daniel's statements about Malaya talking about having a break? Taking this break. What does this break mean? I don't fucking know. Okay, there's many interpretations of what that could mean in light of a break from your relationship, a break from being a parent. How about it all? How about a break from everything? How about a mulligan? That doesn't sound like a mother who should be just having a fantastic time raising a newborn. You're getting to enjoy all those newborn baby smells and all the fantastic things that come with it. You're feeling broody. Remember the term broody? Well, Malaya wasn't feeling broody. She's not feeling all that broody right now. You're talking to Grok. I don't get Grok to tell me what he thinks. I don't want to know what Grok thinks. Especially when there's all this deceit at hand. See, it's possible. It's possible, I guess. I just don't see it very probable, considering there's this whole story now that we have to deal with whether you like it or not. You have to deal with Janie's account. So disprove Janie's account. Janie's account, she hears the children alive, and then 20 minutes later, when she goes to look, all she sees was Malaya sitting there on her phone with Meadow. I'm not sure how far, Mary. Darren said, Karen says, somewhere in his 1,000 pages of transcripts that Daniel had gone to Narcotics Anonymous for 2 years. Didn't Belinda say that Cody had gone to... Anyways, well, I've fucking heard of it, Karen. No, I don't think so. I don't know where Oh, you mean over on It's a Criming Shame, maybe? On another channel? I'm not sure. You tell me, man. You tell me and cite your info. In your opinion, if and when these children are found, this woman is not getting any of her children back, Sky Maiden. It sounds like she doesn't want any of her kids back. It's like she's got into this situation. She just wants to be free of her kids and not be held accountable. And she did it the way that she felt like doing it. Now, it still doesn't account for why she had to call the RCMP and report her kids as just walking into the bush. That, I don't know. You think he lives in Bible Hill, Karen? Near Truro. Mm-hmm. Lacadian LeBlanc says if Malaya's brother is involved, they could have been sold. Like, that would be the worst case scenario. And what makes you say that? Because he has a history, a criminal history in that sense? Like, that's a bold statement. Been sold into what? Who are you talking about? I'm sure she loved them when they were little. You're talking about Malaya's love for her children. But when they became independent people, who are you talking about? She didn't like them even. I'm not sure who you're referring to, Karen. Oh, you're talking about Malaya? She wants to get pregnant again right now. Replace the kids. She wants another go-around, another mulligan. Oh, you made me almost puked. Just at the thought of that. That's really responsible. How are you going to raise these kids? What the fuck? I'm going to have to find myself a new man. That's just you talking to my chat, Karen. I sure hope not. I hope that's not it. Someone hinted that she might have been seeing Daniel's brother. I wonder if that holds any merit. Karma. Fuck, she didn't want to be around Daniel. You think that she wants to still hang around that fucking trailer and those family? I think she said sayonara, Karma Moon. I don't even think that's a possibility. Not even in the realm. She needs a new fantasy. I could get that. Maybe she's caught in another cycle. Probably your psychic friend told her draw her soulmate on a piece of paper and it didn't look anything like Daniel. Then she's on to the next man. She's got her legs wide open, coming at you full throttle. She's riding dick. Let's see. I hope not, dude. You're torturing my mind even considering that. I'm like, come on now. She's abandoning her children just to go have more. She's just like this baby factory walking down, and every 9 months something plops out of her that she doesn't want. I think we're getting a bit carried away with painting her out to be like this horrible, evil person in that sense. Like, there's got to be some sort of humanity and reasoning at some point in all of this. You know, like our mind has a tendency to keep going and going and going to the worst. And the more that you read Karen's comments, the more that you feel that you're in that. Come on. She's not... I'm not saying that she's the greatest mom, but she can't be that fucking bad in that sense. She probably just wanted to change her scenery. But you think she's crazy as a fox, that this woman is just up and sold her kids into like organ trafficking. Well, fuck, you think she'd be floating in some money by now? You know? You think that she's got a little bit of money, she's got some time, she'd fly the fuck away from here as far away as possible. Not just, into New Brunswick, and stay at like a no-tell motel. Come on. You can get thousands for kidneys and eyeballs and all kinds of things. You just carve them up. Remind me not to check certain boxes on my income tax forms. Delusional disorder by proxy is also called apholia du madness for two. Delusional disorder by proxy. Love it. Of course. That's the ticket. Listen, you got to be really careful with all of these psychological conditions. You ever seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? They'll be pulling you for a full frontal lobotomy in no time. They come up through your eyeball and pick out your frontal lobes. God, you don't want to do that. You don't want to get involved in all of that shit. Especially believing that it's a thing. Christ. Some people, anybody can get into a really shitty state of mind. Yeah, Patty Burns. In the DSM V6, there will be a whole new section devoted to disorders caused solely by YouTube. Yeah, and diagnosed over YouTube as well. That's a good one, Patty. That's funny. I like it. She could have been bad-mouthing Daniel for sympathy if Dan and Bro didn't get along. First of all, both of these individuals are human beings in that sense. It didn't seem to me like they were getting on very well. Like, I mean, what changed? What has happened in that brief amount of time that you two were together? Did things go awry? Like, your house is a bit of a tiff. Your house is a bit of a tiff. You've letting things go. Maybe if you dressed the place up a little bit, did you not have the right channels on the cable box for her? Like, what was going on there? She was probably a chronic, they're probably both narcissists to a degree in that sense, especially Malaya. Oh, I promise, Malaya, I'll be that Daniel Martel that you thought I was in the beginning. No, the person that she thought you were in the beginning was a fictitious person broadcast through the lens of her mind onto whatever screen it fits with least distortion. It doesn't exist. She doesn't like you, dude. That's another way of saying she doesn't like you. She never did like you. Well, find time to fucking tell me. We just had a child together. That's got to be heartbreaking. I feel for Daniel. Like, because he's probably a sucker for love. He's sitting there at work listening to all kinds of stupid-ass country music tunes, thinking that there really is this thing called love out there. Maybe if he sends this psychic $30, she'll draw him his soulmate, and he'll finally be able to find her. He's really believing. He's really working towards wanting something that's almost impossible to find anymore, and that's true love. It's not like it was 1940s or 50s. It's not the age of innocence anymore. Everybody wants something. They want a sugar daddy. Daniel doesn't have enough money. Like, she wasn't a doting mother, that's for sure. Part of me, in his interpretation of things are interesting in light of that message stating that he was going to promise to be the same person he was when he first met her. Dude, you would like to think that your relationship progresses since that first day of meeting. What that's like saying you want to. No, sometimes it's just time to go. Maybe you fucked up. Love is a chemical imbalance, Patricia. Yeah, you could argue that. Love. Yeah, that's right, sweet tea. Love is a choice. It's not a feeling. Feelings are fickle. That's a good comment right there. That's a very good comment. You would think that after fucking up your previous relationships that you would have some sort of better idea of what it was that you wanted as you jumped into this new relationship with one another. You can come live with me and my mom, Janie. She's crazy. She's got a bunch of unregistered guns by her front door. So don't fuck around. No, it didn't sound like... Well, it sounds like Malaya didn't expect Janie to be there. How crazy could Janie be? She's got a boyfriend. apparently. So she's got to be, somewhat reasonable. People want to judge them harshly in this circumstance, especially Karen Jones. What happens was they met each other. Their psychosis fit together like hand in glove. There's nothing more fun than a folie à deux when you think you can't be held ultimately responsible. That's a quote. Well, I like how you're applying that here, but that's just lip service, boy. I want to know the details. I need to know exactly the circumstances surrounding the sort of environment that they provided their kids. And the fact that Daniel, here's what bothers me about it. You think that we would have that answer by now, but Daniel is too busy up on social media trying to make it and point blame towards Malaya. Isn't that kind of perpetuating the situation? Like, I understand that you want to clear your name, but that's completely separate. You should be addressing one thing and saying, listen, personally, everybody, I don't think the kids are dead. Call me when you find them. I'm out. Peace. Never talk again. Never see another fucking video camera again. Get out of my life. Sayonara. Go catch that crazy bitch. Maybe that was her way of simplifying things. She didn't want to complicate his life any further. Oh, Daniel, you know what? I just need a break. Maybe she is fucking crazy as a fox. Maybe she's just in there fantasizing and daydreaming, and she's caught in this cycle as the grass is greener, and she's, on her phone talking to all kinds of boys on the Tinder. And she's like, you know what? These 16 guys look a fuck of a lot better than you, Daniel. I'm out. She's gone. Just like that. Hey, Star Lacey. I would hope she's not like that. But Daniel's up complaining about her in that he's saying, from his perspective, he's forgotten about Jack and Lilly, whose ages are 4 and 6, and she was spending way too much time. This is me paraphrasing based on what I'm picking up from his posts, recent posts. But he's talking about it, how she's just forgotten about these other 2 kids, like nobody understands this part. So maybe there is something to this neglect scenario. But the problem with this is Daniel is supposed to be a parent and an adult in that situation as well. How is it you're not picking up the slack when you've got a newborn baby? Your work should be increased tenfold as well. All you hear is that now listen, to you personally, the issues might be relevant, but to outside ears, to normal people who have happy family settings, this isn't a fucking thing. Okay? It might be a thing, like maybe briefly, and you might feel like that for 30 seconds, but that's not a thing. There's no this, that, and you're doing all of this, and you're sitting back observing all of these kids get neglected. Daniel, you didn't know any better than to pick up the slack and cook and really actually notice by all of the work that you're doing how much she's neglecting to do because you're burnt out and sweat and broken back, and your place should be spick and span and clean as a thistle. You'd be eating off your floors in the bathroom. So how is it he's now sitting back and saying that Malaya's motherly duties slipped because of the new addition of a 3rd child to the household? No, there's only one household, not a bunch of separate households in and amongst this. There's one household, thank God. So really, you've got Daniel up there more or less admitting to neglect. Is that what you guys are telling me as well? I think if maybe I'm seeing it your way a little bit. I know it doesn't make sense to me hearing it. Like if neglect wasn't an issue, and neglect's a broad umbrella statement in the circumstance, but if there wasn't an issue that would be classified and fall under what CPS would consider to be neglect, why is he bringing it up? So from CPS's perspective, that's another problem. And that leads me to believe that there's some sort of issue back there, or else Daniel wouldn't have brought it up the way that he did. So you're saying that she's neglecting her duties and you're picking up the slack, and that's wrong? What the fuck were you doing in the other, like, what were you doing? What were you doing otherwise? Like when you have this ready-made family and you blend everybody in, you know, certain duties don't just fall onto the wife and none onto you. So it makes me wonder about things. So maybe he had an unrealistic expectation of what a woman is in this circumstance. And where's Janie in all this? You think that he should be getting some better advice? Like, you better pull up your socks, honey. You better get this fucking yard cleaned up. Can you not pick up a bucket of paint? You know, put the stairs back. It's like, I didn't think it was that bad. It's not too bad. But, you know, you could tell that it's not being, they're not doting over their properties. They're not really, there's other things going on probably. And it all happens to be inside the confines of this trailer, this house of horrors. I don't know it's a house of horrors, but it doesn't sound like it's a good time. It doesn't sound like a very good time in there. It would have been eggs collected from the chickens and left to go rotten on the counter. The kids could go under the chicken coop, where the rats are. I thought at first they can be nasty if neglected. What are you talking about, Karen? You keep talking like you're up there in the mix as well. You know a little bit too much info, it seems. I can't figure that out for the life of me, and you won't tell me. April, it's blatantly obvious they lived in a shithole. Oh, be careful. How dare you say that? And taking care of children involves providing them with a decent and secure home. Well, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, like you've got them pointing fingers at each other in that circumstance. First of all, I mean, I have a hard time believing Daniel's words, but maybe I should. I just don't want to believe his words. Maybe I should take him at his word that something happened. He wants to put some sort of definition and psychological term to it, but he doesn't actually know. She's just changed. And he wants to attribute it to something. What does changed mean? Terry Crocker says she's concerned with them both lying, changing up the story, and people who are hiding. If you're hiding something, you have something to hide. Why'd you do that to my mind? Yes. There's that, but I haven't heard any mention of that, Emity. I haven't heard any mention of drugs. You would thought with all the people that know them around there that rumor would have been out there, and that's not even a rumor. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that there's not drugs involved. That doesn't mean somebody can't be on the down low. Well, that would certainly contribute to not having any money. But get out there and get mommy her oxys. Well, there's little helpers. No, I don't think that's... I mean, I thought that before. And I guess it's still, we don't know them. But I don't think so. I don't think that's an issue at this point. Mosquitoes breeding in those waterlogged toys in the yard. Oh, yeah, all those poisonous Bill Gates mosquitoes. Cadaver dogs in the trailer? Not that I've heard of, Emity. I have heard that there is only one cadaver dog in the entire province of Nova Scotia, though, and that's backed up by evidence. I'm not sure if I'm being put on, but somebody said, yeah, that's a fact. That's true, actually. But mind you, there might be all kinds more in the next province. Who knows? It doesn't sound like they keep them on staff. Bonnie Randall is asking Karen if you think the kids are living or passed. Yeah, I'm curious to know that too, Karen. Do you think the kids have passed? They're deceased? She doesn't think the kids are breathing. Cadaver dogs could never smell anything. Oh yeah, they could. They're dogs that specifically smell decomp. There's not human decomp in a chicken coop, no matter how old it is. I hate chicken coops because the more you leave the shit, the rats just love to bury in the middle of those damn things. Just stick your pitchfork in and stab them. They make a hell of a squeal. Wee, wee, wee. It's horrific. Yeah, they're not hiding anything in the chicken coop. Well, I don't know. I'm not there. Karen, you should drive over there and check it. Put your rod through, see if you can't feel anything. So Karen is thinking the worst. I don't think the worst. I haven't had any reason to believe the worst. Even though silence, might be her indicator. But I believe Janie's story. I believe that there's another car involved now. What do I think happened from that point? The possibilities? I don't even want to exercise. It sounds like she has family that has them hidden away and nobody's talking. Like, by hidden away, I mean like the same thing you're doing with your kids right now. You've got the door closed and you're not letting them outside. Same old day. It's just another day. Only you're not calling it hiding your kids away. You're calling it they're at their new home. I don't know where that new home is. But why wouldn't she? Why, if she wasn't trying to hide something, has she clammed up, considering the emergency at hand? Isn't this an emergency situation? If your kids really were missing? Yeah, I would think so. Something tells me the kids aren't actually missing. And now she especially doesn't want to answer or talk to anybody. Just the police when it's appropriate. She's probably leading them on hair by hair, talking through her lawyer, which is probably signaling to them a lot more, right, than the things that she isn't saying. Because the reason you have a lawyer is so that the cops, you add that layer of defense between you and the investigators. She had that lawyer right away. And she's silent. I'm not speaking to you without my lawyer. Well, they can't question you any further. Oh yeah, Terry Crocker. They're alive, I believe. I believe they're alive. So far, I do. Personally. But I like to hear from the other end. I like to hear other people's perspectives. Mary. How about, what do you put a new term for it? She's just sick to death of Daniel. Could you imagine? Well, it sounded like it probably, well, it's hard to really get a feel. She just cut him off like, snip. No need for you anymore. I don't need you, and I don't need my baby Meadow. Well, so much for being so in love with baby Meadow that she couldn't, attend to her other motherly duties. It's a fairly misogynistic thing to say. I gave those kids everything. So it's not being a very good father in that sense, not a very good fatherly role model if you're complaining about having to do all of the things that Malaya should be doing? Isn't it kind of a combined effort? That's part of the benefit of being in a relationship with more than one person in a family, is that, not everything's on your shoulders. So at one point, somebody's lying behind the other person's back. You're complaining about, both parents are complaining about being parents. One by the demonstration of their actions, and Daniel is really admitting to that by not directly saying those words. He's saying it through a different way, by putting blame on the mother for neglecting to do the things that I told you or I think that you should be doing, rather than me, who's obviously way more superior because I am a man. That's what I hear. That's what I hear. Anybody else? Oh, gosh. Yeah, you don't need an expensive lawyer. Well, this is a family one, Terry Crocker. Thank God they're in the family. I bet you the lawyer has the kids. That would simplify this little scheme of theirs. There can't be that many people involved in it. And of course, we have to maintain absolute silence. We can't talk about this because it's an ongoing investigation. Hey, stupid. Nobody has used that as an excuse in the mother's situation in that circumstance, ever. You're in the wrong position. No, you can comment. You're the only person that should be commenting on this in this situation, is the person who's telling you that she can't because the investigation is far too important to what's going on than to let the mother ever say anything in front of a microphone. Shouldn't you be thanking It's a Criming Shame and Belinda for starting that GoFundMe? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Such a backwards situation. Folks who genuinely have children missing don't hide and they don't not look for them, period, Patricia Burns says. I tend to agree with you. That's probably in the rule book. She could have just left Daniel with them. They're not his kids. Yeah, but then she would have looked like she was doing something bad, rather than being able to put all of the blame back onto Daniel because of the mystery that she's about to really stoke. By not talking, by reporting the kids missing and stoking, oh, I bet you that motherfucker killed those kids. It's always the stepdad. That's what she was hoping. That's what it looks like. She doesn't give a shit, though. She seems not to give a good goddamn about any of it. She's at the fucking beach. Guys, I'm human too. Guys, I'm human. I'm at the beach. Fucking hell. Oh, guys, I'm human. She's human. I can tell you, she's got a representative, her psychic pink-haired representative at the beach is telling everybody that she doesn't know what happened to the kids. But she's human. She's at the beach. As she's skipping out on her last motherly duty, which would be, in a general sense, Meadow. Well, you couldn't have cared too much about Meadow if you just up and gave her away, no matter how much you want to pretend that you care about your kids. Caring about your kids is not breaking the rules and conditions on a shit show that you yourself started and handing your kid over. It's sacrificing. You sacrificed all three of your kids in this circumstance. And there's no way out of that for Malaya. You sacrificed your kids to try to buy another fucking day of not getting your ass handed to you by the RCMP some sort of way. That's what all of this comes down to. Because there will be something that you did wrong that will be punishable by law. Might be 2 or 3 or 4 things. We don't know yet. And she's trying to draw that out as long as possible. That's the point on hiding from any sort of microphone and media. It has nothing to do with the cops. The fact that you just brought up another excuse shows just how culpable you are in whatever wrongdoing is at hand here. And we're finding that out slowly, day by day. No matter what, because you have to take the rumor and speculation, and those rumors and speculation are coming by way of Daniel. And he's the closest person to being accountable in all of this, like him or not, because of the statements that he's already given police. You know, and that only means something for how it should be taken in your mind. Like if he's out here publicly talking about it, imagine what it is that he's talking to the cops about. We would get a lot better version, more detailed version. Yeah, you think Daniel should have been doing more? Asked his family for help if Malaya was struggling. Well, what is she struggling with? Like, what is she struggling with? And how is that affecting the family? We don't know that for a fact yet. You know, we could probably get into a whole conversation. I'd love to talk to him about all of that, get all of the juicy details. I hate to get into somebody's personal life like that, though. Do I? Yeah, I do. I feel like I do. But I feel that it's important in that circumstance. I mean, he doesn't need to really let us into that information. Unless he wants to. I'm just curious, personally. Because you would have to think, you know, that you know, the environment in which those children were being raised in was getting toxic somehow. Because how is there a household with two people in it? One person has just cashed out for whatever reason. They're depressed and don't want to ever get out of bed. Now, does that mean it automatically... It doesn't sound like Daniel was taking up the slack. What's? Don't you think that you should address those situations? Or that? I don't know what the issues were. Who knows? That's why I don't get myself into these situations. But you just can't see anyone willing to hold these kids? Maybe, maybe not. Well, of course. Oh, no, amenity. You can hold on to these kids. Family will hold on to them. You can get anybody to. The person that would hold on to the kids would be the same people that would be pulling the strings and telling Malaya in the background how to fix this bullshit situation that she's in. Which would probably be most likely her mother, her family, her brother Ron that she was on the phone with. Brother Ron at 8:48 a.m. And the fact that they've talked her into doing this is probably keeping her in this loop of silence. Because the best thing to do is to shut your yap. Don't say anything to anybody. And we'll figure out the next step. You're saying, Lacadian, she sold them to some family, what, like through Facebook? Facebook Marketplace? She sold them to some family? Oh, that makes me scared, afraid, very, very afraid. Part of me. What are you saying? How do you know? Or is that what you're? What are you basing that off of? With the money she's got now, she got more than one bikini. She got a new bikini. Well, that's nice. Lacadian Karen says that's a real possibility. She has been spending a lot on Temu. Where did that money come from? It's probably your benefit money. Temu's cheap. Yeah, Norbeaster postpartum probably, but still get off. Yeah, you can't have postpartum for fucking ever. You've got to get yourself through it. You got to get yourself through it. Is that what she's talking about? So in her mind, she's subscribing to this like postpartum depression, like it's a goddamn disease, and that she's just giving up her kids, and it's a normal thing. Oh, I got postpartum. I need a break. Holy shit! That's giving up your kids because of your own stupidity, because you thought it was an actual thing. Fuck, you're an idiot. It's better to lie. Go out and go for a walk and have something healthy to eat. Fuck, we got ourselves in a problem here. Wow, that's the first thing I would do if I came into a lot of money. You spend it on Temu. I wouldn't even download that app. That is so trashy. garbage app. It's nothing good on Temu, dude. It's all hack Chinese fucking shit. It's like going to shopping at the dollar store without even leaving your house. It's shopping at the dollar store there, girl. Well, she's fucking high class. What a trashy fucking bitch. Like, you can't even give us some fucking excitement talking about shopping at like at Tiffany's or something like that. You got new Rolex, some high roller shit. You got to talk about Temu, girl. Fuck. Temu is cheap, and so is you know who. What, Daniel? I could see that. Trying to budget. We're trying to budget. Fuck, aren't we all? You buy your cat clothes on Temu. There's probably some good things, some good little. You know how people are. Just stuck to their phones. Oh, look, I can shop. Oh, look at all the good things on Temu here. So amazing. Just brainwashed and inundated with all of that marketing campaign that they did. It's still shit and garbage. Come on. Folks who get rid of their kids think the whole world will feel as unbothered by their absence as they do. It comes as a shock when all eyes are on you, wanting to know, are these kids safe? Patricia Burns says. Well, you guess we could judge her on that. Like, why would you? What would that says a lot, that you just given up on all of your kids like that. So tell me then, honey baby, tell me that this isn't, fuck, that could be a possibility. That scares me. Karen, you might be right. Or who was talking about that? So this brother Ron. So now we have this brother Ron that was on a call with her at 8:48 that Daniel introduced. Now, why would brother Ron be involved? Because could he be the broker, the liaison of whatever happened, like the rehoming? Like, she essentially, what they're trying to say is she trafficked her, but we'll call it a private adoption. Or what really happened? I think that's what people are going to want to insist on knowing, motherfucker. And I don't think people are going to go very far until they find out, because people will think the worst. So through Ron, did Ron broker some sort of adoption deal? And who the hell is adopting these kids other than predators through private means under assumed names? Did they fly her out to like some new Epstein Island and she's in a cage somewhere? Or the kid's in a cage? I guess it's a possibility that somebody has got her brainwashed into thinking that, have maybe a Catholic priest convinced her into giving up her kids in that sense. They're known to do that. In fact, they're notorious for doing that. But the problem is not that you were responsible enough to give your kids up to a home and to give them a fighting chance because you couldn't make ends meet anymore for whatever reason. You just gave your kids up to the machine. Norbeast or postpartum is no excuse. You've had it? I think I had it yesterday morning. After I have a great big dump. Oh, it's like, man, I feel better. Yeah, I listen. This Daniel bringing up postpartum issues is just a bullshit guise to brainwash him with, so he has some excuse to look at when she's not around anymore. Okay? Had nothing to do with what he believes postpartum to be. Has nothing to do with whether you're a guy or a girl. The fact is she brought up the excuse so you would have some sort of mystery in your mind and some reasoning so that she could get the hell up out of this relationship. It was never meant to be, dude. You should have never got together in the first place. What the fuck is wrong with you? Both of you. You know what Daniel needs is a new girl. Anybody in my chat want to become Daniel's new woman? You can give us the key insight to how he treats you. Daniel, you want a new girlfriend? I got a few people lined up for you, brother. Daniel's suffering postpartum by proxy. The only reason that he's using that in my mind is I should rephrase that. The only reason that he's probably using that in my mind is the fact that she was indeed using that as an excuse to continue on whatever behavior. Because if you're lucid enough to recognize that you yourself have postpartum issues, to tell Daniel that as an excuse to get him to think that she was having postpartum issues tells me that it was a goddamn rehearsed stunt in the first place. It was just an excuse. By the time it's too late, you probably wouldn't really recognize it as postpartum at the time. If you were lucid enough to recognize it as postpartum, you could indeed do something about it, like right the ship in that sense, like adjust. Like you're walking into a bus, you see the bus coming straight on, you tend to get out of the way of the bus. So all of this at this point in time, this postpartum talk, is nothing but an excuse that was probably perpetuated by Malaya onto Daniel prior to leaving to give her some sort of excuse as to whatever the reasoning was behind a conflict that her and Daniel were having. And you could probably guess what that conflict was, okay? The conflict was probably the fact that they're in that conversation in the first place. The relationship was ill, okay? And they want to, Daniel has this vision of what this relationship and family should be like, and she's not taking care of her motherly duties because of this postpartum depression shit. Fuck that. No, it's nonsense. It was just him being overbearing and not understanding the what it really takes in compromise to have a happy, loving relationship. Sometimes, do you know what, Daniel? You should have just ignored her and went and painted a room and changed the environment and cleaned up, or went outside and straightened up your dumpy fucking dive you live in, bro. Made it feel more like a home, so you put more pride into it. And it gives you a little bit of time away for her that she probably needed, because you're probably bossing her around a little bit with all of these fucking expectations. Somewhere in there tells me that there's an expectation, like expectations that you were putting on her that probably made her feel like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? Priority number one is the household. You got to both do your share in that sense. What does that mean? It means cooking, cleaning up, maintaining your hygiene, cleaning the walls, dusting, light dusting, vacuuming, moving things to clean underneath them, moving them back. All the shit that you should be putting on her, Daniel. Fuck, you should have had a team of chicks in there if you want. Come on, dude. I couldn't even imagine saying that. Even when I was stupid, I never imagined saying that. I would have just not brought it up and ignored it. Fuck. You get in front of a bunch of people and talk about all the things that she wasn't doing. Uh-oh. That doesn't look good. It doesn't look good in how things were going around there. He's too busy trying to point blame because people are expecting you out there to give them some sort of answer, and Daniel really let us into more or less. I guess it's not. It doesn't make him a bad person, because he probably doesn't know any better in that sense. He doesn't know any better, I would expect. Look, if you knew how much easier your life would have been if you swept the front stairs today, type of thing, it goes a long way sometimes. You combine a bunch of small things into some big things, and pretty much over time, you're in the good books. You've got to do a little bit of work each day. That goes for all of us, not just him. Fucking postpartum. That was the cover story before she bailed. Man, I wonder how long. So Meadows 18 months thereabouts. So plus another 9 months of carrying the child. So that's almost 3 years. So the timeline really almost lines up with what Belinda Gray was talking about in her attitude changing and things like this. So there's the Cody situation. She probably iced Cody out to try to make her, because she didn't need Cody anymore. She got a new man. His name is Daniel, and he promises to be the best fucking guy to my kids, and of course he's going to be, because he's just fantastic. Yeah, you can see how this went down. She's very irresponsible in that sense, but hey, maybe she didn't have a realistic, I wonder how she was as a mom. Belinda says that she was good. I kind of believe her, but I also kind of believe that she's just finding something nice to say out of, to try to more or less start with some sensitivity into a subject that there's a lot more to the story, as Daniel would say. And there is a lot more to this story. But no matter what the details are of the story, Daniel, are the kids alive or not? Are the kids living? That way people know whether they want to maintain their attention span or not. Because if the kids are living, everybody can go on about their lives and develop their own opinions based upon that. The only thing that's keeping people stuck to this is wondering whether or not the kids are alive or not. You have a question, Flight Nurse? If Janie was not supposed to be home, then why was she filling potholes the night before? Well, he addressed that. It wasn't the night before. It was that morning. It was that morning when she... It was that morning. Daniel corrected that, Flight Nurse. Do you want me to read it to you? Hold on. Hold on here. Where was that? You got to take my word for it. I don't want to re-find it. You got to take my word for it. If you scroll back, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. I don't know where I got that, though. But that was one of the... I remember where it was. Hold on. Excuse me. So, Daniel Martel, the stepfather, has joined the Jack and Lilly Missing Tips and Clues Facebook group, Flight Nurse. So if you go up to the Jack and Lilly Missing Tips and Clues, if you're not already joined, that's where this information was really sourced from. Daniel confirms Janie Martel, his mother, was awake since 6 a.m. on May 2nd and spoke to her brother at 8:48 a.m. for 2 minutes and 59 seconds. I don't know about that. That's the first I heard about that. So I put a star beside that one. Yeah, right here. Daniel disputes claims that Janie was filling a pothole with a shovel the night before the disappearance, probably because of people's questioning it like you were, stating it was a single small pothole filled in the morning of May 2nd, 2025. This contradicts earlier narratives suggesting it happened the previous night due to rain and footprints. Amity, you're not thinking about, okay, so let me put it this way. This is probably not all Malaya's doing. Like, let's say Malaya was spending most of her time complaining on an app. Maybe she's got a new man, or she's complaining to her brother Ron. And over time, it wasn't just an overnight thing, okay? She's had enough time to brainwash and condition Daniel into thinking she's got postpartum issues in that sense, because they're having relationship problems. She's not digging the environment. She's not having a good time. All right. She's got to find an out to get the hell away. So when her family or immediate friends are starting to probe her more into the rationale and the reasons why, then she starts talking about having a break and needing a break in all of this. Okay. So the next questions would probably be, what does that actually mean? What is a break? You can't order a break from the phone book. You can't fucking buy one at the store. What does that mean? How do we help her? How do we solve this issue? And when they finally come down and she says, well, she needs a break from parenting, does that mean she wants to give up? Nobody knows, but we're assuming by the looks of it, where we are now, yeah, that's what it was alluding to. So somebody like Ron, her brother, or Cindy, her mother, involved, telling her the steps and or being her handlers in the background, for I guess the best word would be a handler. Malaya would have handlers, and they would be her mother, Cindy, and her brother, Ron. Maybe more. The question then arises, okay, because if Cindy's taking Meadow, why didn't Cindy take Jack and Lilly? Why is Jack and Lilly not with Cindy? Okay. Is it because Cindy's a fucking loose cannon too? Is it because she's a fucking bullshitter? Okay, because the reason I say that is because when she's contacted, she is just, she doesn't want to talk. She's hiding behind this veil of misinterpreted bullshit, how they're not allowed to talk to the media. They really want to impress upon everybody that that's the rationale why. Well, this would be the first time in history that they would ever have said that. Because there's a big difference to being careful about what you say in front of the media and complete radio silence. And isn't it convenient that they misunderstood just in such an emergency situation such as this? Yeah, right. So whoever Malaya's handlers are would be the ones directing where those children went, either to take the stress off Malaya because it would be a decision that's made outside her immediate. Like somebody approached her with the solution to whatever problem was flustering her in the moment. Was it her evil brother Ron, which so many people are worried about, has connections to potentially human trafficking? Yeah, in my mind, that would be a fucking worst case scenario too. Because from we all know what that means. Who knows who you're dealing with in that circumstance? Where did he get these other people that are so in the market for kids? Where do you go for that? Usually people who are in the market for children aren't exactly the types of people that you want to be around. And they don't tell you the truth. So how are these people being vetted? How do you know that Jack and Lilly aren't rehomed into some pedophile network somewhere? That's what people want to fucking know. And that's why people are so intrigued by what is going to go on. Because until we have word about where Jack and Lilly are, we're not sure that they're not in the hands of some fucking pedophile networks somewhere. Because that would be the only place that some fucking idiot named Ron, with all kinds of associations to human trafficking, would probably go to first, unknowingly. Because let's not forget, these people are naive as all fucking gullible. Think about the things that Malaya is referencing. Taking a break. Like, when people hear and use that term break, there's that's a double entendre. There's ulterior meanings to that. Not and it's meant to deceive the mother in that circumstance. Oh, we're going to use the term break, meaning that you can't attend to you're too psychologically taken up to tend to your children. Therefore, we have to scoop them up. So in my mind, it wasn't the state just coming in, scooping up these kids. There is a fucking reason why the establishment have an issue with these people, because they're using the term break. We've identified all of the issues. They've admitted to them right now. Pink stripe, yeah, break, what does that mean? Yeah, that's the reason why they use the term. It's a probing question. So they're already using that term. Malaya's talking about this break term. So really what that means is that for a while now, you've been planning on giving up your kids. So Karen, that's where I'll give you one. But you're bringing us to the end, because how are we to know that you just didn't sell your kids off or rehome your own children, private adoption like, to a bunch of pedos? And pedos don't advertise the fact that they're pedos necessarily. They'll be a happy, loving couple that entraps you and brings them in, gives you a payoff, and you're on your way. Oh, that happens. So how is it how can we get to some sort of how can we get some closure into this as people listening in? Well, we have to listen in tomorrow too, I guess. But I don't know where this is going to go. Like, I mean, that would be the worst case scenario. That would be like killing your children. Although it wouldn't be by your own hands. You sacrificed your children. You sacrificed them. I mean, what else are people to think? We're just supposed to take Malaya Brooks Murray and her family's words for it. See, the real culprits behind her here would be old Cindy Murray and Ron being their major influence. Because this if there is cray-cray, as Daniel is wanting us to believe they are, I would have a hard time thinking that they did proper vetting in rehoming these children. I think Darren Geddes is alluded to that way back in his initial statements to Dolly, I believe, or maybe Crimes and Lies, or it's Crime and Shame, excuse me. Yeah, I'm starting to understand. That's what you guys are saying in that sense. Anyway, that's a possibility. Because how are we to trust? Would you trust? No, I wouldn't trust Malaya with the responsibility of rehoming her own kids in a fashion that she doesn't get taken advantage of. Do you understand? Fuck, my parents adopted me. It took my parents 7 years, way back in the late 60s and 70s, to go through the process of adopting my ugly punk ass. What a disappointment that must have been. Oh, God bless them. But 7 years. Over 7 years. It's probably sped up. But the vetting process, I'm quite familiar with the vetting processes in those situations, and it's extensive. It's not, they just don't give kids to fucking anybody, even though, they make mistakes. It's not a perfect system by any means. And I mean, to understand the fact that even in the system that you just sacrificed Meadow to, you gave your children up to a foster system. This system hides some of the worst pedophiles, and they fly under the radar because they've all been vetted and checked under false pretense. And in a lot of these Catholic organizations as well, all been compromised. Okay, they've all been compromised by pedophile networks, and they pick and choose. That's what you're giving your kids up to. That's the danger. It's not living high off the fucking hog. It's giving it up to a bunch of corrupt son of a bitches who only worry about their jobs at the end of the day, who are compartmentalized and don't know how it's being abused. And don't care. They don't care. And it'll continue to be abused. And this is a real problem and has been. So they're using the same problem. They're citing as an excuse the same problem of hiding from, I'm trying to protect my children from CPS because we know they're corrupt. So you went and took it upon yourself to go to the same end buyer with no vetting process. Same result. The same results. The end user is just as dastardly. Oh, Bonnie Randall, the level of detachment one would have to in order to rehome children like puppies is breathtaking. Oh, breaks my heart. Especially at her age. It's not like she's a young child and it's the right thing to do in a circumstance, potentially. To go and avoid... Now, think about if Bonnie, think about how odd that is. If her intent was just to take a break and give up her kids, have a break, why didn't she just put them in... Why is she running from Children's Aid in that circumstance then? So everything that we come up with comes up a bit of a major question in the end, and none of it turns out to be reasonable. There's a lot of questions, but why is it she's... Fuck, that scares the shit out of me. The only reason to call them in missing is because, in effect, it was organized for you, and all you have to do is just stay silent about it, not talk to them, not admit to anything. And they can't prove it. Because as far as the RCMP are involved, they have been kidnapped. They are missing. And they always will be. And she's just rehomed her kids to potentially a pedophile network. How do you know they're not hooked up to some adrenochrome vials in some weird biolab somewhere? And they're being they're being tortured and their adrenaline extracted for bottles, for drugs for the elites in that sense. She'll be pregnant soon, in your opinion, Vivian? Maybe she is a baby factory. Maybe she's having babies so she can sell them off into these pedophile networks. Maybe she and her entire family are being targeted and groomed in that sense to have kids, then turn around and give them up to the same organization. Fuck, we're really getting out there with all of this, aren't we? But it's real. It's a potential possibility. Potential possibility? It's a possibility. Just a possibility. Potential possibility. Fuck, I love that one for an excuse. Well, potentially it's a possibility. It sounds like an excuse. Oh. Like, I'm not saying I know everything because I should be playing the lottery if that was right. But I mean, I'm trying to highlight the problem with how she's possibly handled that situation. Is she that irresponsible? Holy shit, I think she might just be. Like, look at where we are in all of this. You're trying to reverse engineer her poor decision making. Nobody, and I still can't figure out why she called it the RCMP, because no matter what you were trying to do, how the hell is calling the cops in on yourself going to help? That's baffling to me. Are we looking at a Darwin Award winner here? I don't know. We're gonna know. We're gonna know at some point. Lacadian LeBlanc, Darren even said himself he would have got them a good home, well-off family. Yeah, so he's talking about the potential without directly saying, she went out and privately adopted them out herself, which all they need to do, here's the problem. All they would need to do is verify that the kids are in a better living situation. That's going to be okay with the Children's Aid, the same Children's Aid that people are bringing up that she's so worried and afraid of. I don't think that she's worried and afraid of them. I think it's just a parallel thing that was going on. This was all already happening. CAS or not. But the problem with all of that is that she is not wanting to be accountable. So why all of this? Did she adopt her kids out for a payday? The only person offering you a payday for kids are going to be people with nefarious intentions. I don't think she's wise enough to discern. Could you imagine even putting yourself in as a parent in that situation? Shopping your kids around? What? That's just fucking weird. So that's why people are that's why Cindy or her brother Ron would be involved. Maybe she was. Do you remember? There's all kinds of these little documentaries all over YouTube talking about how it's responsible to give up your kids to sell them off into human trafficking. It's a great way to make money selling an eye or a kidney. Fuck, they have two. They only need one. All of these different things. You'd be afraid. You'd be afraid at the people who followed up on that. All of these little documentaries talking about people selling their kids on Facebook Marketplace it's real, man. Sadly, I don't think it's very common, but believe me, I think that you'd be surprised. Sadly. So I would have to expect the reasoning behind Daniel's statement talking about that we were laughing at for a long period of time during this stream, that this would have came up with, the CPS investigation. So it probably was an issue back months ago when the school called. So that tells you that. Look, where were you, Daniel, in all of this? Why weren't the kids going to school clean, and what were going on? That maybe he's just dumb. Maybe he's ignorant and doesn't know. I take that for granted too. Maybe he just doesn't know about, what kids need every day on the day in and day out. It's not like he's Mr. Mom, right? Like, how does he know fucking anything? He probably has to be told what to do by Malaya, and she's in no position to be telling him what to do because she doesn't like him in the first place, it sounds like. Well, Lacadian, they couldn't take Meadow because Meadow's too young to run into the woods. That's just sad, distorted right now, but I think you're right. You're on the right track. We're getting places here, friends. We're getting places. Karen Jones, hold on, I skipped over some here. What was in that cupboard, Vivian? Cupboard, I don't know. I don't know what you're referring to. You can tell what I consumed. What were my mangoes? Let me see. She had to call the cops to get away with it. Yeah, well, we're trying to make that fit. We're trying to make it fit. I spend way too much time thinking about it. Malaya was known to talk about her problems with the kids. Someone said, I know someone who will take them off your hands. No questions asked. Holy fuck. Yeah, it said the wolf. Could you imagine? That's like a Little Red Riding Hood story. No questions asked. Malaya's Temu account filled with what she thought it was. You think that she sold her kids for a boost to the credits on Temu? Man, that's a really exorbitant insult. But maybe you're not joking. He was married with 2 kids before Vivian? Yeah, someone said that. Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean much in that sense. It doesn't mean much. Because think of the power dynamic in that home. He's not in her house. She's with her kids in his house. It's always going to be his shithole house, no matter how ugly it gets, no matter how dilapidated that shithole gets. It's still going to be his castle in that sense. And therefore, he's probably kind of the balance of power in that household is probably being put in her face more than not in an indirect way. Like he seems to be putting a lot on her, even though he might have a point. Like he might have a point, but still, it's still, he's not acknowledging at that point in time that he's really picked up and he's the one primarily taking care of those kids. So you're telling me that you're primarily taking care of the kids while she's still in the house, in your opinion, and they're still going to school, and there's still signs of neglect in that sense. So I'm not sold on the neglect, and it makes me really question Daniel's ability to parent. I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean, though, Karma Moon? I think you're confused a little bit. Can you grab that and turn it down, please? Thank you. Oh, yes. Look, Karen Jones, how the fuck you be knowing this? It was Janie's trailer. They rented. Welfare paid $800 a month. Janie kicked back $200 to Daniel. So then rent was only $600 a month. And how do you know this shit? How do you know this shit? How do you know this? I demand of you. Low-key just tell the school you're moving provinces and no one would be suspicious. You would think so. Yeah, but then it would leave a trail. Who knows? Who knows? See, I don't think a lot of this problem solving, okay? I don't think a lot of the problem solving was up to Malaya alone. It's like Malaya had to put her problems on and puts her problems on to everybody else, like the pink-haired psychic, okay, to come up with some sort of solution as to where the fuck she should do tomorrow. You know, should she put her underwear on the right way? I don't know. I have to talk to the psychic. A flight nurse, she has a new boyfriend? How do you know it's not her brother Ron? She has a new boyfriend. Look at his shadow in her sunglasses on the beach photo. She gave up all her kids and she's with a new man. Could you fucking imagine? Could you imagine? I hope that's not true. Probably is, though. She needs a man. She's a man-needer. She has a new boyfriend. You guys, she's got to take her mind off of how horrible her life has become. She's got to take her mind off how horrible her life has become with all of these men and babies. She needs a new man. I need a new man. Hopefully he's got a Temu account too. Oh, hello everybody. This is my new man and we're in love. By the way, I'm pregnant with triplets. How do I know that her boyfriend isn't her brother, Ron? Well, that's incestuous. I don't. Maybe it is. And there's some sort of weird internal attachment. It sounds like somebody else is solving her problems for her and giving her the advice, and she's following it. That's why everything seems so abrupt. She didn't neglect to get the fuck out of the house. There's that. Neglected everything else in that house except the day it took to get the hell out of there. She did that pretty well. Most likely they are alive somewhere with some family, Lacadian. I'd like to think so. But how are we ever going to know? Are we going to have to take her word for it? Are you happy just to take her word for it? I think at this point it would be awfully negligent of the RCMP and all of us just to dismiss this as something that got out of control, like Durwood wants to think. No, if there was an easy answer to all of this, it would have been put forward and approached behind the scenes. What the fuck are they using that lawyer for? That lawyer should be knowing all your problems at this point in time. But he doesn't. That tells me that he's probably advising you in a different sort of way. It's the same question we all have. we have the exact same question, humanity. As much as we can fill in the blanks for everything else and kind of come to understand, none of us can figure out why she would call the cops on herself. Like, if you really did rehome your children, you think the last thing you would want to do is turn around, report them missing, and put like an APB in their faces all over the place across the world as they were reported missing. Like, what good is that going to do? Is she related to Lilani? God, she's a piece of work, isn't she? But, you watch that interrogation of Lilani Simon, and you get a real understanding about just how easy it is for a psycho like that to lie in the face of obvious realities and truth, and the reaction to it. She had a full-on meltdown cry fest. I think we're going to be getting that out of Malaya as well at some point, because at some point the rubber's going to meet the road here. You're going to be held accountable for whatever it is in the circumstance. We need to know what that, if it was something that she didn't mind, like what's the reason for hiding all of this? What's the reason that she's hiding all of this, knowing full well that she's fighting a losing battle? They're just not going to drop it and forget about it. Maybe that was the reason. Maybe that was the reason for calling them missing, because that's the only way that authorities would not maintain an active investigation off something if there was genuinely a couple of kids out there that they couldn't find, that they think are missing. Meanwhile, still doesn't make sense to me. Still something we're missing. And the Boswell interview, Pink Strip, I'll watch that one later. I'm not sure I watched that Megan Boswell one yet. I watch a ton. It's not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that there's pieces of information in here, and we're probably really close to being accurate with a lot of our we'll call it just brainstorming today I don't expect to be 100% on, but we're weighing and considering the possibilities in relation to what? Calling the RCMP on yourself. Yeah, she called the cops to get away with it. Something would have to seal the deal there. In order to get them to be treated a certain way and not have the heat on yourself, you have to call them in missing and think that you yourself are a victim, whether it be a stranger abduction or of circumstance and chance that your own kids just up and walked out. That's cold as ice. That's in order to get away with this. And that's probably true. She had to call the cops to get away with whatever it is that she's getting away with. What is that, though? What is it we're saying? Is Ron involved with that? Old Ron? I want to know who Ron, her brother, is, and what the fuck you're talking to your sister about at 8:48 the same day you report your kids missing. That tells me that every time she's on that phone, she's probably taking orders and organizing with her brother Ron. Now, Ron's the man. Is he the broker? He's doing the logistics. Yeah, JJ, I'll never get past that. She told on herself, in my opinion. And she had a feeling are not facts nor reasons for bush hunt by how many people and organizations. Yeah, you mean the instinct to call 911 before she had clarification that somebody was even missing in the first place. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? You bullshitted Daniel to get out there to get him searching. Before he could even come back, the RCMP were on their fucking way. What does that tell you? That tells me that she's got like access to Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio. She's a mind reader. She could read the future. And we all know that that's impossible, my friends. Insider trading. Insider trading, young lady. The mom was a piece of shit and targeted by the freaking authorities. It's just a movie, but could happen. Oh, what was that movie called you just mentioned? Hold on. Remember that movie, Gone Baby Gone? I'm going to check it out now. And say she had a feeling. Yes, I got that one. The moment they said the kids shut the sliding glass door, in which they never do, alarm bells go off. Yeah. Well, first of all, it's offensive. It's offensive to us as listeners that she expects us to take a lick of that as truth. You didn't have a story. You didn't have a story at all. You told your partner, Daniel. Don't you mean you asked your partner, Daniel, if he can hear the kids? You hear the kids? It's just a loose representation of what Daniel confirmed happened that day, but she left out so much more. Like she was already up for all that time. She already ran into Janie. Don't you want to get in front of the camera and talk about what Janie saw or didn't see? Listen, Janie can vouch for me, you should say. She saw the kids. And then she didn't. But I can't tell you that because it contradicts with my story right now. Is that my ride? Yep, bye. Out of here. Gone. She took off so quick. Gone. The MLA likes people handling things for her. That way she doesn't have to be responsible. Like Daniel handled the child discipline for her. That's wrong. Bring that here, please. Yeah, no, that right there. Thank you. You can have 2. Bye-bye. I had to get 2 out of that before they were all gone. Just raiding my cupboards. Good idea, though, Chair. Well, if they were found, that would have been better. She didn't wait. If she was going with intuition and didn't actually know. Yeah, well, it's... Okay, no, you can't have them. Oh, that's right, Karen. It is offensive that they have offered up this off yell of an excuse, this awful excuse, and expect us to eat it up. Mm-hmm. At least Daniel's out here trying to right the ship to a degree. That tells me everything. You know, you don't have to believe him 100%. He's got a perspective of things. He's got a perspective. The only thing that really matters is it conflicts with all of the statements that the mother, who's no longer around, has. Why is that? Like, I wouldn't think that he's completely lying. No, not really, Amenity. Not the person that came and picked up the kids was Ron, and his mom probably. We don't know for a fact, but it's sounding like it is. It'll be within her cray-cray family. There's no strangers walking around there that are just well-to-do, unsuspecting individuals that were taken advantage of with some sort of bogus adoption deal. No. This has all been pre-orchestrated. This is organized. They organized this. There's no fucking manhunt. No, there's no manhunt that went on. There's no fucking Amber Alert. There's a couple kids that walked into the goddamn bush, reportedly. And there's a few people out searching for them, and they gave up. Why? Because they realized that the story was probably bunk. But they still have to portray the fact that they did a thorough job in tending to the report that day, to rule out the fact that they actually did wander off, or lower that probability to such a low percentage point that it's not even worth investigating in light of all of the new details in the investigation that they've come through the admission from Daniel, Janie's mother. So now they would have to play the waiting game, because they're not going to be able to hold this up forever. They want to. Well, what would they go to jail for at this point? Nobody's going to get in trouble. There's nobody's kidnapped the kids, Amenity. You're having two different arguments. If one thing is true, then it can't be the other thing. If she wanted to rehome her kids with a bunch of... The worst thing that she's going to get is she gets a court date for obstruction of justice, maybe. No matter what her reason for being dishonest to the RCMP in the first place, for reporting her kids gone missing. Daniel's perspective is clouded by a troubled love. Oh, he just got lied to, that's all. You got involved with some trick. Stupid ass. Like, first of all, how did they get involved in the first place? Do you know Karen Jones? You know everything else. Just the nature of the situation, Amenity. Just the nature of the situation. By its sheer nature, they treat every missing child's case as suspicious, as they should. So just because they talk, don't be misled about the shit that they talk about in the corporate media. That's just talking heads doing bullshit talk. Nobody's even talking about it going from a missing person to a criminal investigation. Who the fuck cares? That's them. Who cares how they classify things internally? We know what the fuck is going on the outside. From a interest level, you're not going to get anything from the RCMP because of how it's handled, because of the report that came in. They're only going to address that. We're already so far beyond the fact that this isn't two kids walking into the bush now. You have to fucking abandon that way of thinking unless you're talking to the cops. Because you're almost not even talking about the situation. You're right. It is upsetting, Sweet Tea. Children are so vulnerable in this circumstance. And they, of course, take advantage of it. Look what they're doing. They exploited their own kids. They sacrificed their own kids. Like, Daniel is emotional, but I don't think this guy knows any better. Does he know enough to be pissed off right now? I don't know. She's not gonna... How are you gonna get fucking blood from a stone? Talking about she's gonna repay costs at a minimum. She's gonna have to pay for her time, you mean? Like in a prison cell? They're gonna allot $30 a day? To bring it up in front of the courtroom. What are you gonna charge her with? You don't even know what's going on right now. You know that it's not necessarily as it seems, but you don't know enough at this point to come up with a good charge. Really, it's her business. How she wanted to do things is really her business. Everything that people want to think is a criminal, like when you watch the news and they start talking about a criminal foul play, they're still talking about an investigation of a fabricated incident that doesn't even actually exist. So nobody cares about how the RCMP classified. It doesn't allow you into what's really actually happened here. It's a bullshit narrative. Those kids ratted on her to their teacher who contacted CPS. Naughty liars, talk your ear off. Is that what? How do you know that, Karen? Darren O'Grady says Karen Jones is his worst nightmare. I wonder why that is. Karen Jones has to know them internally. That's one, why she's not telling me. Not telling me in my chat. She wants, so you want to say all of this, but you want to remain somewhat anonymous. I get it. Daniel being adult, wrecking your chances of real happiness. I think that's probably the way he comes off because he's got a one-track mind at this point. I mean, at the end of the day, he's got feelings too, right? He was heartbroken for 10 minutes. You're going to get over this one fast when you figure out what she's done to you. They victimized Daniel and made him look like a dumbass. Maybe that's true. You keep wondering. Take, for instance, what that father did to 3 daughters in Washington State. Oh, yeah, that's horrible, Sky Maiden. That fucking guy. What would real happiness mean to Daniel and Malaya? A day without kids bugging them? They probably got that way. I don't know what to say. I don't know their lifestyles in that sense, but it kind of seems like neither one of them were geared for parenting in that sense. All kinds of things you could do. Strap them to your four-wheeler and scare the shit out of them through the bush. That comes to mind. Mental health? You mean mental health crisis? People's mental health, poor mental health, you mean? Well, it has to do with a lot of the environmental factors people are in and the consumption of all of this nonsense that contributes to their downfall. As soon as you know, then you can fix it a little bit. Compensate. All right, guys, it's 3 hours, 2 hours. I'm going to get off here tonight, and yeah, we'll continue the conversation. I like it. Thank you guys for stopping in. Amenity, Karen, God bless you guys for stoking the fires of conversation. Sky Maiden, take for instance what the father did to his $3 in Washington State. Yeah, I read that statement. Hold on, I got scrolled up. Friends, we are out. We are out. Stay tuned to whatever the hell's going on. I think It's a Criming Shame is talking about it today. I don't know. I won't even mention that. I was gonna have a shit fit on this little GoFundMe and crap that they've got going to spread awareness of this situation. I don't know why you're getting all uppity to spread awareness about a scenario that isn't or isn't, but I want to hold my tongue until we know what the hell's going on. A little bit more. God damn you, Malaya. I'll be talking to you guys in a little bit. See you later, Karma.